Welcome back to AFTV, guys. Welcome to full-time. Everton have beaten. Arsenal have beaten. I know. It's 2:15 in the morning. Arsenal have beaten Everton 2-0. Pretty comfortable, really. The first half where we looked sharp. The first team looked good. I think they had a good intensity about their game. Second half, it was about giving players minutes, trialing a few different systems. We'll talk about that too. We'll talk about what the wider squad looks like going into the season. But job well done. I know the Ipswich game was behind closed doors and really it's not one to look at, but 3 out of 3.
3 out of 3. Listen, you don't read too much into these things pre-season because it's all about when you get onto that pitch for the opening game of the season in the Premier League. But so far so good, and great to see Jesus again on the score sheet. A great goal, by the way. Beautiful touch, lovely finish into the roof of the net, and giving what those fans over there wanted to see. And I mean, they want to see, a new signing come in and do well. And so far, Jesus has been brilliant. You know what I mean? And if he can follow that and keep that form going when we get into the Premier League, when we get to the Premier League first game, that's going to be fantastic. But another great performance by him. I think he got the assist as well. Yeah,
he did. Yeah. I've got to say, look, I think Arteta got what he needed out of that, which is 45 minutes where he saw a couple players come in and absolutely not look out of place. You're looking at William Saliba, you're looking at Jesus leading the line up front. Obviously in the last game against Nuremberg, very good, but he played more alongside Eddie. So when you're playing up front on your own, it's slightly different. Obviously he's done that for City before, but absolutely bed in very, very quickly. You saw Tavares playing at left back, and actually the fact, and I mean this in the nicest way, the fact that we didn't really have to talk about him much suggests that he just did his job and just kept everything ticking nicely. And it looked like an Arsenal team that looked a lot sharper than what I've seen previous pre-season games, especially by this point in pre-season. And Everton came with a bit of venom, a bit of
physical,
bite, there was a competitive edge. It wasn't. Cecil asked me at half time whether it was like Premier League intensity. I said no, because I just don't think you can replicate that in pre-season, and no matter how hard you try. But there was definitely a bite to it that I wasn't expecting.
No, I mean, look right at the end of the game. Yeah, the referee actually, I think, blew it up early because it was getting so spiky out there. You know what I mean? Right. There was tackles going in. There was, I thought Arsenal in the first half as well, their pressing game was brilliant. There was a lot of intensity for a friendly, and I think that was a very, very good test. A lot more physical and intense than say the Nuremberg game where and you're up against better quality players, and so and there was a lot of pluses there. William Saliba, I thought, it's great to see him in an Arsenal shirt.
He looked good, didn't he?
He looked good. He looked composed. He's up against Calvert-Lewin, kept him anonymous throughout the game, or throughout the first half in which he played. Got minutes in him. He'll be well happy with that performance. And I think the fans again is another one of the players that we're looking at. It is like, I know nobody likes using that word, but it is like a new signing because we've hardly even seen him.
Well, apart from one pre-season game against MK Dons. And this was a different level and a different stage, and it's got a different feeling around him. I always think the sign of a really good defender is when they haven't had to do too much in a game. When you're seeing a defender, I know it always looks good, the late blocks, the sliding tackles, the sprinting back to cover, that all looks good in terms of recovery, but actually something must have gone wrong for it to get to that point. And what I liked about Saliba today was when he was faced with a 1-0 situation, dealt with it, won it every single time, was getting in front, wasn't getting bullied off the ball, looked comfortable in possession, and just did his job very, very comfortably in two different roles, once in a back two and then on the right of a back three where he's a little bit wider. And I just thought in the 60-70 minutes we got from him, that was exactly what I wanted to see. Just he strolled through the game.
Very impressive performance by him. Played really well. I think first half in particular was some really good performances. In the second half, obviously, we saw a lot of the players that, they'd be classed as fringe players now. A lot of those players are going to be on their way out. Although Pablo Mari, I thought, was... actually, Pablo Mari and Rob Holding both played, I thought, pretty well in that second half. They both looked very comfortable at the back. Some of the other fringe players, I don't think Hector Bellerin looked particularly great. Ainsley was a little bit erratic as well.
Yeah, I agree.
A lot of the players, even Pepe was quiet. So a lot of the players that probably going to get moved on before the end of this transfer window, didn't say to the manager, yo, keep me. I don't know, are they looking to say to the manager, keep me? Or are they just self-preservation, let me don't get injured because I've got a move lined up to such and such?
That is a good point.
Yeah.
We'll talk about the players that came on. Let's focus on the first half. Just before we do, Luke with the Super Chat says, you guys are legends doing a full-time show at this hour. Big up yourselves and thanks for all the content you do. Listen, Luke, you take the rough with the smooth, but what I would say is it's actually been loads of fun. I quite like these midnight streams. It has
been, it's a shame that we couldn't be out there. Everyone knows now, my daughter's graduation yesterday. No way I could get out there.
Shout out to her, amazing.
Yeah, she done brilliant. I was thinking actually to try to get there for that Baltimore game, but even when I was looking at the flights, times it would arrive in and out, it was cutting it so fine.
Yeah.
It was just too risky, especially with what's been going on with airports and that recently. So, but we'll be out there in Florida, and I'm looking forward to it. What a great turnout by the fans tonight. I already know anyway, so it's not a shock to me that the support in the US is unbelievable. And make no mistake, those tickets are not cheap to get into those games. I think if I'm being honest, I think they're overpricing those American fans. And I've got a bone to pick with Arsenal as well, actually, right? How is it that Arsenal fans were being charged £5.99 to watch the game on Arsenal's website when you could go along on Everton's website and watch it for free? I'm sorry, that is not good enough. And I'm not happy about that. And I'm sure there's a lot of fans out there who'll be looking on that as well. Listen, it's great that they're covering the game, but they didn't even have anything like, say, at half-time, any analysis or whatever. It was just literally, they just took the feed from America, which is the same feed that Everton had. So that's a bit, I'm not too pleased about that. But at the end of the day, performance on the pitch was good. 2-0 win, and like you said, unbeaten so far in the friendlies.
Yep, Coyce 2000 says Arsenal doing good business. Honest opinions on Tottenham. I think he's asking, look, we're discussing the watch along. Spurs doing good business. Arsenal doing good business.
Like somebody said, do we really care about their business? Listen, they've done what looks on the surface of it good business, Tottenham, but I think Arsenal are doing good business as well. I think, as we can see with Gabriel Jesus, he looks like he's going to hit the ground running. He's looking like a great signing. There was a lot of teams interested in Gabriel Jesus. Remember, we pulled off a signing like that without no Champions League. That is a great signing, right? And when you see that Richarlison went for 60 million, you're looking at players like Scamacca and all these guys, and the money has been quoted. Brozier, they're talking about 35 million and things like that. To get Jesus for 45 million, a Brazilian international, proven. Even Rafinha going for £65 million, is he a better player than Jesus? He isn't, is he? I would have loved Rafinha and Jesus, So Jesus has been an excellent signing. Fabio Vieira, we want to see more of. We haven't seen him yet. I can't wait to see him start. And I think if we, which looks like it's going to happen to Zinchenko, I think that makes sense, that signing. That'd be another good sign. So we've been active in this transfer window so far, but there's more to be done. We've
been active, and yes, there is more to be done. I think that was evident more in the second half. On Jesus in particular, what is it for you that actually, what's he adding that we missed up front? Because for me, it's epitomised that second goal. I mentioned it at half-time. It's the way when he drops deep. Remember Lacazette was getting a lot of, not criticism, but everyone kept saying, he's a number 9, why does he keep coming into midfield? But what Jesus showed is that you can drop in, but a good touch and turn, and you're up the pitch very quickly. And then Martinelli and Saka are able to make those darting runs. And yet the ball didn't get to Martinelli, but Saka's on the end of it, and suddenly got 3 players in and around the penalty box in dangerous goal-scoring areas. And I just thought there was a really nice fluidity and pace and kind of a bit of power about Arsenal that we lacked in the front three for a while. Yeah,
Jesus is a great finisher, and he, he's a guy that doesn't give defenders a minute's rest. He's pressing games brilliant, and he just does. Lacazette did a lot of those things, right? Lacazette worked his socks off.
Yeah, he did.
But Jesus just does it a lot quicker.
Yeah.
And Jesus is younger, I guess, and Jesus is a better finisher. So I just feel that it's an upgrade at the moment, and it's a great signing. And You know, I feel that this is going to be a signing. This could be a player that's going to come in with a lot to prove, and we might see the best of him. He was playing at Manchester City. He was loved by the fans there. He was loved by the manager, but he was never really the main guy.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it's Man City, because of what they got up front.
Yeah.
Here he is going to be the main guy. He's going to be, unless he's injured, he's going to be the go-to guy. So I feel we really could have made a really, really good signing with this. You know, not every signing has to be 100 million, as you saw last season.
Yeah,
true. With the 100 million signings of Grealish and Lukaku bombing out. So I think this is a really, really good signing. And Jesus, you know, I'm very encouraged with what I've seen so far. But these are friendlies. It's not the Premier League yet. Premier League's a different kettle of fish, as we know. But it was a Premier League team today in a friendly, a very physical game, and he scored again.
Yep, very true. Loads of comments coming in. Baron says we need another striker. Jesus is an excellent signing. Lots of people are saying Jesus is a very good signing, to be fair. David says he's getting gassed about it, which is great. Jesus is great. I expect a lot from him in the coming season. Tierney and Tomiyasu can't seem to make it in opening games, need replacement ASAP. I think they're just being eased into it, to be fair.
Yeah, well, listen, we got to remember there's still a lot of friendly games to play. There's 2 games next week in Florida. Once, you know, I get a feeling we could see them in that Orlando game. Those guys ain't really figured much so far.
Yeah.
So
still need to see White as well.
Yeah, so we got those games, and then, you know, we got the Emirates Cup. That's 2 games again. So I think fans.
I think that's why. I was listening to the chat during the watch along, and there's a lot of a little bit of worry from people about the second team and what it's like when you drop. But I think, from my opinion, I think you just got to remember that there's still players, Tomiyasu, White, Tierney, who you mentioned, Vieira, they all need to come in. Yeah. Then you hope for another 2, so that's 6. Add that to the players that we do like that play. So, for example, Lokonga. I think Pablo Mari has a role to play. I think, who else have you got? Nketiah, very good. Then I think actually you're then looking at sort of 8 behind the 11 that started, or 8 added to the 11. You've got a 19. That's not bad. I mean,
listen, we're building a good squad. We all said it on the stream. We still need more.
No, we do.
I agree.
Undoubtedly,
Dan Potts said it. I agree with what he said. We need I'd like to see a Plan B striker, right? Somebody with a bit of height and a bit of presence on them, who can come on and do something a bit different if it ain't working out. At the moment, I look on it, I'll say Eddie, Jesus, similar in the way they play. There's similar style of forward players. I'd like to see something else. I'd like Arsenal. So far, I've liked the signings here, but I'd like Arsenal to bring in Tielemans or a top quality midfielder. And I still would like to see a marquee signing. Someone else, right, that's going to get us on our feet and excited. I know you shouldn't just buy signings that for the sake of that, but there's some players out there like Lucas Paqueta. I think would be a marquee signing. I think.
Really?
I do feel that.
I think he's a top player, but
he's a top player.
Marquee, I think of like world class / nearly world class coming.
Yeah, listen, I'm looking what's out there at the moment, and all right, he wouldn't be world class, but I'd be excited to see him.
Okay.
All right, maybe I shouldn't use. Maybe marquee is the wrong word for him.
No, but I get what you mean. A
signing that's going to get us excited. I think a Lucas Paqueta. Somebody of that ilk, or someone, you know, like I was excited with the Rafinha thing, because I was looking at us thinking, Rafinha, Jesus, Saka. I was like, where do I put? I was like, I'll get excited.
And Martinelli looked really sharp tonight.
And we've still got Smith Rowe with it. I was like, hey.
Oh yeah, Smith Rowe.
I'm rubbing my hands.
Where was Smith Rowe?
Smith Rowe didn't even play tonight.
So there's another one I didn't. Yeah, there you go.
That's what I was saying to those guys earlier when they're saying about buy another 100 players. But
yeah,
I want to see Arsenal bring in a signing where I'm just like, yeah, can't wait. Jesus is kind of that, but I want to see another one. Another one that strikes a bit of fear into something, because you've still got some of these Tottenham fans and Chelsea fans. So I still would like to see Arsenal pull off one of those before the end of the transfer window.
Yeah, Yeah, no, you know? Listen, I agree. God, I forgot about Smith Rowe. I mean, I just think the squad issue's not as bad as like people. I think there's this sense, we've got 12, 13 good players, and then everyone else is rubbish.
Yeah, I mean, Turkish was sort of saying, with the midfield, and we need that now.
We do need more in midfield.
We need more in the midfield, but
I'm adamant about that.
I could see why they might wait a bit to get the right person, because there is time. Because we have got, Thomas Partey's back fit now.
Yeah.
You got Xhaka in there, whether he's your flaky person you want, but he's there. You got El Neni. You got it's enough numbers in that midfield at the moment. But I agree with them. We want to see, Turkish said a Milinkovic-Savic he'd love. That'd be a great signing.
Yeah, he'd be a top signing. I mean, look.
But I want to see, honestly, as well as I think somebody like a Tielemans should be a standard signing, or someone in central midfielder like that. But then on top of that, I want to see somebody where I just say,
with the midfield
can't
situation,
wait for that first game at the Emirates or away at Palace just to see him.
With the midfield situation, with Zinchenko looking close and Vieira, that is 2 extra midfielders that can play in the midfield 3 that we didn't have on last season. So I agree. I still agree we need a Tielemans or one more, but it's not like it's not been addressed at all. So I'm kind of with you on that. I think the focus now should be on getting that wide forward, that winger, that marquee signing, and then you see kind of what you got left, what's in the market, and add that little bit more.
Well, I think we need a central midfielder.
Is that your priority? I think over anything else.
I think the next signing, if possible, should be that deep line midfielder. Who, like Tielemans is there, but I also would love to see a marquee or just a really exciting signing where I just thinking, and that could be, like you said, that could be a wide forward or that could be a centre forward, and somebody that just gets me, just that's the icing on the cake.
Yeah,
where we just say to ourselves, man, you know what? Actually, when when you start to sort of piece together your team, and you're like, if that's the starting 11,
hey, you know what? About it,
and teams are going to be frightened of that. I don't think teams have been frightened of Arsenal over the last few years. It's been like, who they got? Bella in there.
Yeah.
What Maitland-Niles or even we got as good a players as you here. I remember one time doing, I think it was not last season, season before, I did a combined 11 with a Leicester fan. Right?
Yeah, I did one.
And I had to, I don't know how I did it. I pulled it out of the bag, right? That I've got 5 Arsenal players in there. And I remember thinking afterwards, that should never happen, man. That I'm struggling in a starting 11 to get 5 Arsenal players in there with a guy from Leicester, maybe with City, but not Leicester. So I now want to see a team constructed that when I'm doing a combined 11, you know what I mean? No, I'm like, no, hold on a minute. Him. You know what I mean? So, and a team, as I said, that frightens teams. Like when other teams look at it, they think to themselves, "Hey, you know what? Arsenal are coming to town today, and Jesus, look at their lineup, man. Look at their bench, Jesus."
Coyce 2000 says, "Do you think Arsenal will get top 4? And if so, who do you think will drop out?"
I think. Listen, it's still. I still want to see who else we buy. Listen, we nearly got top 4 last year.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people forget that we just missed out on top 4, right? I know everybody's strengthened, but you know what? Last year, you could argue that everybody strengthened more. I heard a lot of people saying, but look how much they've strengthened. I'm like, last year, I remember when Chelsea went and bought Lukaku, they were saying they're going to win the league. I think people have forgotten that.
Man United had a Ronaldo.
Man United have got Ronaldo, they got Sancho, they got Varane. Their fans were confident they were going to win the league. I was looking at it, I was thinking, you know what? When I look at it,
it's a good team. Yeah.
We're not going to get top 4. We and we nearly did it.
Yeah, there's always one shock in there.
But for me, we lost way too many games last season. I want to see us. That's why we need to improve that midfield. We need to be a bit harder to beat, and we need to score more goals. So I think, if Arsenal's strengthened in the right way, we've got a good chance of getting top 4. So many people are saying that they feel Tottenham will get the top 4. I think if we strengthen in the right areas, we've got a great chance, because they just nicked us to top 4 last season, we could start put pressure on Chelsea.
Yeah.
Right? I know they've made some good signings, but it's a new era. It's a new time for Chelsea. We don't know what they're going to be like.
Yeah.
You know, Liverpool might be, losing Mane. Losing Mane. I'm not saying that they're not going to get top 4. They will. But they might drop a few more points here and there. So it might be a more sort of,
Yeah, it's a funny old, it's a funny old game, and it does throw up surprises. There's always one team that we go into the season thinking, they'll be good, and there's always one that just throws in just a stinker of a season. You're like, wow, okay. So there's going to be opportunities for Arsenal if they get it right. Let's go through some comments, because Franklin Goodwin says, AFTV, go to bed, you mad lads. It's 2 a.m.
I'm looking over there at Ty. It looks like he's already done that. You know what I mean?
He really has.
But then he's always sleeping, isn't it? We was at clubs in Nigeria. Well, the place is popping. You know what I mean?
Speaking of
girls, music everywhere, and he was still sleeping then. So there's no hope for him, you know what I mean?
It's one game in the
Oh yeah, he's just informed me that there's one game in the Emirates Cup. He is right. There is one game in the Emirates Cup. Wake up.
Zara for the comment he's got a slightly different take on it. It says, Robbie and James, you boys should have some drinks and go clubbing. Well,
I ain't been clubbing for a while, man, but I think I'm going to save that until next week. Florida, here we come, baby. Go clubbing with Lee Judges, man.
I got to ask, who else impressed you today?
He's got a tab behind the bar everywhere he goes,
Does he?
Yeah, man.
Is that right, Lee?
That's why they call him Lee Hospitality Judges. He always puts, anybody who knows him, he always puts a minimum of £150 behind the bar. It says, lads, help yourself. Did you know that?
No.
Yeah, well, you're going to find that next week, man. Lee's a stand-up guy. That's why everyone loves going out with him. Yeah.
VIP?
Yeah, VIP, everything. Can't wait.
Okay.
Hospitality Judges.
Listen, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to going out in America. Right, who else impressed you?
Well, yes, I said Jesus, Saliba. I was impressed by Eddie Nketiah. I thought he looked sharp when he came on.
Really good.
I felt the midfielders, Partey was all right. You know what I mean, in the midfield.
Well, Elneny did okay when he came on.
Elneny was okay when he did,
Martinelli? I thought Martinelli.
He was all right. You know what I mean?
Martinelli had real moments where he...
Yeah, all right. All right. You asked me about impress. Some of those guys had all right performances, but the ones that impressed me were Jesus, Saliba, and actually in the second half, the 2 centre-backs, Holding and Mari, they were very comfortable on the ball. They were very, so... Yeah, but apart from that, I'd say they were the ones that impressed me. Saka got a goal.
Yeah,
great for him as well. So, but it was a Jesus show, man.
K Hep asks thoughts on Walters. Nice of Arteta with an arm around him.
Yep, he came on. Arms great for the young lads. You know what I mean, to get on. I've been surprised that more of those youngsters didn't come on this tour. When you consider how many sat on the bench last season.
Yeah.
And normally on these pre-season tours, they bring quite a lot of youngsters.
Point, actually, yeah.
Yeah, and then he's the only one. No Patino, seen Amari Hutchinson leave. Now, none of those other young guys. Swanson, I think he's gone out on loan already, or has been. So I guess a load of them have gone, but yeah.
Yeah, I thought that second half was interesting because we're going to talk about the players that struggled and sort of discuss where their futures lie, but. He also went to a back three, and he did that again in the Nuremberg game. So he's clearly trying something, Arteta. And fair play to Cecil, actually. He called it. He said long before pre-season that he thought Arteta was going to try and find a way to get Saliba, White and Gabriel all in the same team. And it does look like he's trying something different. But as much as we can talk about the drop-off in quality because of the players who came on, I actually thought the system was a big part of it. Because the minute Walters came on and went to left-back, we actually settled on the ball and we looked fairly in control again.
Yeah. Well, this is the time to try systems. You know what I mean? They're friendlies. You know what I mean? So if you're going to try out something, try it out now. It seemed okay in the second half. Everton didn't really pose us any problems throughout the game, if I'm being honest. So, but yeah, Mikel Arteta will be really, really pleased. As I said about the players who came on in the second half, a lot of those sort of fringe players, a lot of those players that are leaving, as I said earlier, they've not beaten down the door to say to Mikel Arteta, I want to stay, right? The only one I looked at, I thought, maybe Pablo Mari. But everybody else, I'm like, see you later. So they haven't beaten down the door to say, you know, boss, I want to stay. But then, like I said, on the other hand, do they want to stay? I think those players want to go. I think Hector Bellerin wants to go. I think Ainsley Maitland-Niles wants to go. They know they're going to be fringe guys.
I will be honest.
They want to play.
I was a little disappointed in Maitland-Niles' performance.
Yeah, he wasn't great.
I think because, for whatever reason, I know he's been around. I mean, remember, he got his first run in the first team in Wenger's last season. So, you know, we've had a long time with Maitland-Niles.
Yeah. It's tough, though, because he knows he's going, isn't it?
Well, that's right. So that must be what it is, because I actually still believe there's a good player in Maitland-Niles, and actually a player that would do a genuine job for us at whatever level we're trying to get.
Listen, I like Ainsley Maitland-Niles. The time has come for him to leave.
No,
right?
It has.
And that's not, you know, I thought he was treated very unfairly when we should have kept him last season. A versatile player, could have played midfield, right back, left back, but we didn't. I think that's supposed to show him now that that's it, it's done. You're never going to be a regular under Mikel Arteta. So he needs to go and find somewhere. He's too good to be playing as a fringe player. He needs to go somewhere where he's going to play week in, week out.
Sure.
Same with Bellerin. Same with a whole host of players there that are playing.
But whatever way you look at it, whether it's he's going to try and do what he can to prove to Arteta that he can have a future, or whether it's playing for a move, you know, the 45 minutes out there today didn't do anything. It didn't,
but as I said,
I think he's a good player.
You're in limbo, innit? Because, you know,
it's hard.
You could be like, I'll go out there and I'll play brilliantly. I don't want to get myself cropped because, you know, my representative has been speaking to Nottingham Forest, or speaking to this, you know, that's one team he's been linked with, or speaking to a couple of teams. You know, and when I get back off a pre-season, the deal's going to be done. I don't want to get myself injured.
You're right. I
ain't going full in. Right. You know, so
no, you are right. It's only You're right. It's only pre-season. Yeah,
just keep myself injury-free, keep myself fit. You know,
but it almost comes from a place of like. It always comes from a good place, what I'm saying, because there are other players out there today who played worse that I'm really not that bothered about, because I know that their future. Whereas with him, I've always maintained that little bit of hope that, because I believe there's a player in there that actually he might start to show it and he might get that role or whatever. But I guess you're right.
His days are done at Arsenal. That's the honest truth about it, and that's the reality of being a footballer.
Yeah.
And for his career, he has to recognise that and just move on now to another challenge.
We'll see where a lot of these players end up.
Yeah, Bellerin today, you know, still sort of seen over the years, isn't it? Like,
he struggled. And I'll go as far as to say that I thought he looked quite good in the Nuremberg game, but he definitely struggled. He wasn't at it. Pepe as well. I mean, he was playing up front, but didn't really do a lot. No. There were a few out there that you just thought this isn't.
I think Dan Potts is going to do a swap for me now.
Oh, is he going to swap? Right.
Is he coming in?
All right. He is. Let's do it. All right. Thank you very much, Robin. Let's get in, Dan. While Dan comes in, I'm going to read the super chat from Real Madrid Arsenal. It's actually to you, Robbie. He says, Robbie, I'm disappointed you didn't come to Baltimore. But then he says, Saliba is slow but very assured on the ball. I don't agree with that. I think Saliba's really quick. Big ups to Jesus and Eddie. Tavares must go on loan.
Sorry I couldn't get to Baltimore, mate, but my family would have killed me if I would have done and missed the graduation. But we'll be in Florida next week. I can't wait. So I was there in spirit today, and I love the support over there.
Yeah.
The fans in America I can't tell you how brilliant they are. You guys will see for yourself next week. So, but yeah, well done to all the fans today. Absolutely brilliant.
Yep, Dan.
Take it away, Potts.
What are you saying, James? Cheers, Rob.
What am I saying? I mean, I think that was your textbook ideal, you know, what the doctor ordered pre-season performance. You know, it was 90 minutes where we got 45 minutes of, I was about to say the new signings, the new players, because Saliba feels like a new player, slotting in and looking very comfortable, probably two of the best players on the pitch. I think you then had the rest of the first team was looking absolutely in their comfort zone and knocking the ball around nicely. There was a good edge and a bit of bite to the friendly, which is, I guess, adds a degree of intensity that you want to start getting out of these players as we get closer to the start of the Premier League season. Second half was about trying something new with a back three. Didn't really work. It was about giving fringe players minutes that, whether we like it or not, we kind of got to give them minutes, even if it's just to protect some of the first teamers and make sure we're not overexerting them in pre-season. 2-0 win, job done.
Yeah, it was, and it just shows you the difference in the first half to the second half, James. And I think that's an issue. You know, I just said in my fan cam to Cecil that I was really impressed with the first half. I thought it was great. I really liked everybody. I thought they were sharp. I agree with you. I thought Saliba and Jesus in the first half were great. I was really impressed with what I saw from some of the intensity from some of the players. And I think that although perhaps Martinelli and Odegaard and players like that weren't outstanding, I think the intensity was there at least. And I think when you look at the difference in the first 11 to our second 11, that's where we still need work. And I think that it's really good that the window's still open, because if we were to go in now with this squad, I wouldn't have the confidence of a Champions League result at the end of it.
I hear that. I'm really glad I got you on, actually, because I wanted to debate a little bit this squad thing, and I was going a little bit back and forth with Robbie there. I think my thing, and why I'm not as worried about the squad issues as you guys on the sofas were, is I understand that if that's our first 11 and the second half's our second 11, then yeah, I'd be really worried. But I kind of keep thinking to myself, well, we've got Ramsdale, okay, fine, goalkeeper. You've got Tomiyasu, White to come back, Tierney as well, 3 defenders. You've got Vieira to come back to that team, Smith Rowe. Let's say, for argument's sake, plus Zinchenko and maybe 1 or 2 more. You're kind of already looking at 6, 7, 8 players being involved in some first and second 11, and suddenly everything starts to look a lot rosier. So while I absolutely get what you're saying, I have a feeling that when it comes to the real season, the drop-off isn't going to look as drastic as it did today.
It's funny, isn't it? Because you say that, and I actually said that in the fan cam as well, that actually we're missing, and I reeled out 6 players that we're missing also. But what I still stand by is that if Tomiyasu does get an injury, is Cedric the guy? If Partey gets a long-term injury, is Lokonga the guy? If Jesus gets an injury, is Eddie the guy? This is what I need to look at.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
Is Granit Xhaka and El Neni going to come back into this midfield for the 7th season in a row, knowing that it's not good enough to win this Champions League football? So that's where my concerns still are. However, there's still time to address that. It's not this isn't the end squad. We've still got time. My worry is that I still feel there's 4 or 5 positions there need filling, and I don't feel that we're probably going to fill more than maybe 2 tops, maybe 3 if we're really shocked by it, and that could be a problem for me, James, moving forward.
Yeah, and I think we're not going to go into the season with 22 first teamers,
agreed.
We're more likely going to go in with like 15 who are first 11 quality, and then another 5 or 6 that are younger with potential, but also have shown that they can contribute something. So I very much put Lokonga in that bracket. I think Lokonga is very much remembered for last season for the moments he had to come in and be the Thomas Partey, and actually that's really unfair on him, because that's a really difficult role for any player. You saw Rodri not have the best first season at Man City, but then look at him a year on. Partey took time to adapt to that sort of 6 role. I don't think Fabinho even made the best start at Liverpool when he arrived. So it's a really difficult role, but Lokonga actually did have a spell in the autumn when he played alongside Partey, where Leicester, people forget he started in that game. We won 2-0, very good performance, and a couple home games where he was given a little bit more creative license, a little bit more box-to-box kind of feel about his performance, and he actually really showed some promise. And I think he's a good example, along with Smith Rowe, for example, who they can come in and be in the first team and to a degree maintain the level we got, but also you wouldn't call on them for 38 games. So I think we will have 5 or 6 of them like that in the squad.
Yeah, and I think you make a good point about Lokonga. It was actually Newcastle at home last season. I saw him and I thought, I like you.
Yeah.
And Tavares, funny enough.
Yeah,
both of them playing very, very well at home. And I thought to myself, okay, I'm going to say something about Lokonga now. I felt so sorry for him last season. He came in alongside Patino. He was asked to play on his own in midfield on numerous occasions, but also, more importantly, the shambolic performance that everybody had against Brighton with Xhaka at left back, playing Lokonga in the middle there, not learning, and I'm talking about the manager here, not learning from your mistakes at Villarreal.
Sure.
That was really harsh on Lokonga for me, and I don't think that really did anything for his confidence. As a 21-year-old going on 22, wherever he is now, I look at him and I think, you've definitely got something, because people have seen you in Belgium, and Yaya Toure is the guy that you're supposed to be looking at. So the company wouldn't say that. Well, knowing somebody as well as Yaya Toure, company wouldn't just come out randomly with something like that. Yeah. He's obviously got something about him. I don't think he's ready yet, personally. I really don't, for the Premier League, from what I've seen. But like you said, I looked at Rodri in the first season at Man City, and I don't get it. Don't understand what he does. And look at him now. I mean, it's exceptional. Now, I don't think he's going to be a Rodri. Don't get me wrong. But my point is that you can have a poor season, and then you've got to come back and bounce back. And this will show a lot for his mentality, I think, the next season. Yeah. So he's going to be one I'm looking at. But I do look at those positions, James, and just see the plan B as not good enough, unfortunately. And there's too many of those. And I look at that second half, and I just think, how many of you do I want here for the next season? And it's not that many.
Sure, yeah. And that's why I think it's important to differentiate what we saw in a lot of that second half from what actually a second string team's going to mostly look like, come the return of other players and more signings. So it will be interesting. There were lots of positives today. One, and we're going to end on those, but one player I really want to talk about, and the reason I want to dedicate a little bit of time to him is because often last season, and this isn't just from negative fans or whatever, this came from all angles, the questions about Eddie Nketiah. And he did the interview, and he said, give me a run and I'll prove myself. Now listen, the last three actually have been pre-season. So it's not that we're sort of looking at pre-season and going, oh wow, what a player. He ended last season pretty well as well. But I'm seeing him add things to his game that maybe were there before, he just didn't have the confidence to express at this level, without the minutes, without the feel of the ball, without the regularity in the team. And I'm just seeing little things that I just think, good on you, because so many people thought, at best, this guy's a good poacher. Put it in the box and he'll kind of know where to be, fox in the box, that kind of thing. But he's showing he can run at players, he can look after the ball, he can combine with forwards next to him as well. And look, whether this is just a bit of a purple patch for him, whether it's just pre-season, whether the end of last season was actually just that he looked good among players that were ultimately tiring, you can make all the excuses you want for why you don't think he's the guy. But I'm seeing someone who I really think his level is, with every time I see him, I'm seeing a more complete option.
So when Eddie Nketiah first come on the scene, it was against Norwich, wasn't it, when he came on, and he was a real youngster. I think he was about 17 or 18 or whatever he was. And I was watching it with my dad at the Emirates, and I remember sitting there thinking, who the hell is this lad? He's come on, scored 2 goals, no idea who he is, never heard of him, can't even say his surname because everyone was going Nketiah and all this stuff. So I thought, who's this guy? And then I started to want to see more of him, because as you do, you want to see, he scored, that's the guy, Eddie, he's the guy who scored 2 goals. And when we started to see more of him, I started to realise that he wasn't right ready and he wasn't good enough. And then he went to Leeds, and for whatever reason, Bamford was seen as just the option that they were never going to change. They didn't want to play Nketiah with Bamford, and that worried me a bit, because I thought if you were that good, you'd get ahead of him. He was a good player, don't get me wrong, but I thought you would have probably play along with him or alongside with him, or you'd go ahead of him. Couldn't do that. Then he come back, and for whatever reason, Arteta has seen something in him. Now, what I do think Arteta's in him is his intensity and his want, and I think that he is a player that wants. I don't feel like there's a danger or a threat with Eddie yet. And I think that's what I'm going to see this season. Are you going to be this huge threat like, wow, Eddie's got the ball, he's going to score? I don't get that yet.
I get what you mean, but do you think we're starting to see more of that again, pre-season, all that? But forget that for a sec. Do you think we're starting to see that maybe a little bit more, like that little bit of skill on the touchline where he's held up the ball and he's kind of dragged back and gone, burst of pace? Those little moments where he just looks quicker and stronger than... we're seeing more of that. He's looking like more of a handful. And I don't know if that's development or confidence, because maybe he always had that.
Probably both. It's probably both. Yeah. It's probably both. And I think that one thing I will say about Eddie that I've really seen in the last few games of last season and in pre-season is his strength and his ability to actually hold the ball up is a lot better than people give him a lot of credit for.
I completely agree, mate.
And I do feel that although he's not the target man by any means, I do feel that that's definitely improved from what I've seen. I don't look at Eddie and think, I want you to be here forever, I think you're great. But I certainly do think that there's something that people will look at this season and work that out. They'll work out whether they believe this is the right decision to keep him or not. And it might be a stupid decision, it might work out to be fantastic. And I still feel like Robbie does, that we need a different profiled striker. I really do. And I know this is an ideal world, but I actually feel we need this now, because if we're looking at any form of differentiating our style of play to whipping balls in the box, we're looking at Eddie and Jesus at 5'7". This isn't great. We need somebody, in my opinion, in there who can be an Olivier Giroud type and give us a different dimension. Now, I don't know if we're going to get that person. We probably won't, to be fair. But that's the kind of striker I still feel we need. Now, the positives, you say, Eddie, that was a positive today. I thought he was really good. And the reason I thought he was really good was because he looked intense, lively, and like you said, what's he improved on? Actually, his turning on the ball looks really good now. And I don't see that with many players, if I'm honest with you.
Yeah.
So this must be a positive. So listen, you've got to give credit where credit's due, whether you like him or not.
Well, look, I think I made this point at half-time with Cecil. You know, last year's pre-season really didn't go well, and I heard everyone saying, it's only pre-season, don't panic, it's only pre-season. And guess what? It bled into the start of our actual league season. So I am absolutely, you know, all for a good pre-season where we're putting wins on the bounce. And if Eddie and Nketiah and all these players are getting whatever confidence they need out of this tour, whatever preparation, whatever, you know, just getting up the gears and getting to the levels they need to be, that is great. And if they're getting that confidence in front of goal, and you're absolutely right about the turn, and Nketiah's adding that. Listen, Jesus showed it with the second goal, didn't he?
Yeah.
What a good first touch, turn and drive can do to defenders that go and press, and suddenly they're on the back foot. It's an absolute nightmare, and I think Eddie is showing he's got a lot of that. So I just wanted to point him out because I think because the criticism for me was always over the top. Now the praise shouldn't go the other way, you know, over the top. But there's a middle ground in there, and I'm happy for him, to be honest, as well. Sham says Nketiah's got that fire in his belly to prove people wrong, and I love it. Yeah, I hear that. Dizo says, yes, Gabriel and Saliba were very steady. I thought they had a good performance. We're going to talk about Saliba again. I'll get your take before after we got Robbie's. Brady says, Jesus, Saliba and Eddie impressed me. There was another one that I missed. Sham says Nketiah is the truth. Love that. There was another one. Van Dennis is asking where Vieira is. Well, he was there with the guys, so I think maybe not quite ready yet. We'll probably start the next game or play some minutes. Eddie looking sharp. Eddie is the guy, some people are saying. Yeah, I think people are liking what they saw from Eddie. Sorry for anyone who's been watching the whole show. We have talked about Saliba, but I do want to quickly get your take.
Yeah, sure.
I just thought him and Gabriel just looked really comfortable, and I like that. And yeah, where there were one-on-one situations, or they were dragged out of position, or the game opened up, they just kind of dealt with everything. And what I liked about Saliba, and I know this is such basic, useless analysis, but I feel like there's something in it. He just looked, forget the on the ball and the play, he just looked like a good defender, like tall, composed, calm, strong, just like he breezed it. And I really like that. He looked like, where I'm kind of praising Eddie and Jesus for their intensity, I'm also kind of praising Saliba for the kind of lack
calmness.
of, which was stroll it, whatever, you know, let's go get dinner. That we'll go get that Greggs that Ty's been talking about. You know,
steak bake.
Exactly. Right? I think for a centre back, that's a really good sign.
Listen, this is a player that we all want to be seeing in an Arsenal shirt, and now that we're finally seeing him in an Arsenal shirt, I want to see him impress, because everybody wants. The last thing everyone wants is Saliba to disappoint. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? We've bigged him up for what feels like forever now. Everybody wants to finally see him in an Arsenal shirt,
years.
And I look at it now, and I think what I've seen personally in the last couple has been really impressive. And I feel like with the situation of what can he do attribute-wise, I think, like you say, it's great to see that he's an actual centre-half. It's great to see that he's very good on the ball. Yeah. Very, very good passing ability. Distribution's fantastic. But James, he's got a presence, mate.
Yeah, he does.
And that's when you know straight away. You're not like Van Dijk. You think, you're a centre-half. Do you know what I mean? You are a centre-half. And sometimes you don't even have to touch the ball to know that you're going to be good. And that's what I look at. Now, what you don't want is to look at that and go, you look like everything you should be as a defender, but you can't play like one. Just wasn't the case. And I will say today, Dominic Calvert-Lewin is not Harry Kane or Lewandowski, right? Let's get it right. But he's not a bad centre forward. Sorry,
not at all. He's a proper handful,
and he kept him quiet today.
Yeah.
So I look at that performance, and that was one of the positives for me. Saliba and Jesus for me were one of the positives, and I think that Ben White, as much the jury's out for me a little bit with Ben White. I think he's a good defender. I don't think he's an outstanding one like people make out, but I do think he's a very good one. But I think he would have competition here quite clearly with Saliba personally.
Yeah. Brady says Saliba is a unit. Gunaway says Saliba's a beast. Yeah, I mean that's everyone kind of very much playing on the, you know, just as he said, the presence, all that, you know. Listen, he looked good. Pre-season, he looked good. Dylan said Rule did well. I'm pronouncing Rule?
Rule, I think Rule Waters, is that right?
Rule Waters, yeah. Yeah, he did do well. He did do well. I like him. Looks very composed. Guys, we're going to end it there. Any kind of final thoughts? Any other shout-outs of players you want to... I thought Martinelli had some real moments in that game.
Yeah, the intensity was there. Intensity was there with Martinelli. Wasn't outstanding, but intensity was there.
Do you know what it is? It's so low level, this, but... If I just see a winger who just 2 or 3 times in a game beats his fullback, gets to the byline, puts it across, you know, I know it's nothing, it's not reinventing football, but it's just showing you're quicker, you're faster, you're stronger, and then the finesse will come throughout pre-season. But he's electric like that. And
I need to see some goals now. I like Martinelli. I really like Martinelli. I really do like Martinelli. Yeah. And I was crying out to see more of him. And what was it, 17 games without a goal at the end of the season? Come on, man. We've got to be looking at that now. Next season, that's his challenge. That's his target. And I think we need to look at that. But listen, final thoughts from me. There's still work to do, man. And we've got enough time to do it. So let's go and get the players in we need, man.
Let's go do it. Dan, a big thank you. Big thank you to all who have been up with us. It's 3 a.m.
Wow.
Hey, you know who the real loser in all this is? Robbie's got to do Transfer Daily in the morning. Oh no, he's looking at me. All right, let's wrap it up there. Like the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, because we've got all the Orlando content and you don't want to miss it. Trust me, there's some really big plans, so I look forward to that. Well done, Arsenal. 3 out of 3, 2 out of 2, whatever. We're winning in pre-season. That's all we want to see. Let's go again.
Big up, people.